Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard video, and today guys I am excited to announce that Games Workshop has revealed the Gaunt Ghost units rules. Now this is absolutely fantastic because the points were also revealed, or should I say leaked, for the Gaunt Ghost models, and I believe they are about 140 points for the whole unit, so not too bad. I mean, I suppose it is a unit of what, 5-6 models, so you might think 140 guards and 6 points, that seems a bit dicey. Well, now we get to look at the special rules, and now we get to decide what we think about those special rules, and if it makes them worth that, 140 point price tag. I can't remember if it's 140, 145, but it was around that mark. Now, rather than having the picture scrolling through here, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to put a link in the description of this video to the Warhammer community article. So if you're wondering where the rules are, you can find it right down there, and you can look at those as I'm talking through them at the same time. There we go. Okay, so let's just dive straight into this. So it's titled, "Have you ever wanted to field an entire squad of specialist heroes? Gaunt's Ghost has got you covered." Now I'm not going to read verbatim every single thing, but basically I'm going to go through the rules that they've covered. So it says, as expert scouts and infantrymen, the Tanith first and only are adept at sneaking behind enemy lines and avoiding detection even on an active battlefield. So they have the Covert stealth team rule. During deployment, when you set up this unit, it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone and any enemy models. So that's interesting. Now, from what we've seen, there is some combat potential with this unit, some, but I don't think necessarily you're going to want to use this, and we'll have to wait until we see the full range of things. But I don't know if you necessarily want to use this to get a turn 1 charge on the enemy, but I definitely think you would use this to get them basically wherever you want on the battlefield. Wherever you want to go, as long as you're 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone, you can put them there. So that gives you some interesting possibilities. We'll look at this in a moment. With Gaunt's rules, he is quite a combat beat stick, so well, by guard standards. So there definitely is some possibility there. But I think it's more here. I think it's more tactical flexibility. There'll be some games like against Tau where you want to be able to, these guys will be able to bully Tau very easily. You want to get them in there. There'll be some games where you just want Larkin sniping away with his absolutely fantastic rifle. In which case you'll put them, somewhere else that's anywhere you want on the battlefield, basically. So it gives them some flexibility. Now, the next thing that they have is a rule called Tanith camo cloak, and this is very interesting. I think this is possibly the most interesting rule of the whole article, but you can be the judge. But I found this one the most eyebrow raising. Tanith camo cloak. This unit is not an eligible target for range attacks if it is more than 18 inches away from the firing unit. Simply put, there's more to it, but this is part 1 of this rule. If they're over 18 inches away, you can't target them. It doesn't matter if it's a basilisk. It doesn't matter if it's a whirlwind or a thunderfire cannon or a plague burst mortar. It doesn't matter. If they are over 18 inches away, they cannot be targeted. That's an insanely powerful rule. Okay, that is an insanely powerful rule. It'll be interesting to see if that rule gets rolled out across other guard units. For example, Ratlings. We don't know yet. We don't know. But that's an insanely powerful rule. Why? Very simply, imagine you're playing a game 40k, and your opponent is trying to take you off your backfield objective. Loads of people, even guard commanders, will put a relatively cheap unit holding the backfield objective so they can focus as much power as possible forward on taking the midfield objectives. But that is a risky manoeuvre, because if you just put a squad of guardsmen there, or your own mortar team, for example, if someone starts raining plague burst mortar shots on you, whirlwind shots, thunderfire cannon shots, any sort of indirect fire shots down on you, or any sort of long-range sniper shots, what are the eliminators that the Marines have? Anything like that, they can take those mortars away from you, and you then lose control of your home objective. That's bad. Or for 140 points, you can pretty much guarantee that your opponent can't sneakily take your objective away from you with some long-range firepower. And that unit will still be able to contribute to the fight, because they don't even need to be out of line of sight blocking. They can be out in the open. Hey, look at me, but don't look at me because I'm over 18 inches away, and so you can't even target me. Very powerful. Very powerful. But that's not all. Each time a ranged attack is made against this unit, subtract 1 from that attack's hit roll. So even if you're within 18 inches of them, they're still -1 to hit. Okay? And so that's already great. You know, guard getting access to some -1 to hits. Ooh, mama, that's quite good. But even that this rule does not end. The hype train, the rule train, it ain't pulled into station yet, guys. Each time a ranged attack is allocated to a model in this unit while it is receiving the benefit of cover, add an additional 1 to any armor saves made against that unit. So that means if you're in cover with these guys, now most of them have a 5-up save, admittedly, but Gaunt has a 4+ save, which means Gaunt, in cover, has a 2+ save against shooting attacks. The rest of them have a 3+ save, but guess what? You could probably use, and we don't know for sure yet, but you could probably use the take cover stratagem on this unit, though National Men at Arms unit. I don't see why you couldn't do that. And they would get another +1 to their save from ranged attack. So even the basic bozos would be on a 2-up save in cover for 1 CP and the -1 to hit. So that's from ranged attacks. And you have to get within 18 inches to even target them. That Tanith camo cloak rule alone is beautiful. It's very, very nice. Is it overpowered? Not in the slightest. It does make this unit very difficult to kill with ranged attacks, but that's kind of the Ghost's whole thing. You know, they are very good stealthers. You know, that's why they're called the Gaunts Ghosts. Well, there's many reasons if you've read the books, but you know. But the point is that you're trying to shoot. You know, when you're trying to shoot at them, you just can't see them. You're blasting away. You've just got to indiscriminately fire and hope you hit them a bit. And you know, it's where the camo cloaks are throughout the books known for almost being like a Harry Potter invisibility cloak. That's how good they are. They're so unique and they're so good at using them. So, you know, I think it's very, very powerful. It makes them very, very resistant to shooting attacks. But you know what? At the end of the day, they're all toughness 3 models apart from... Yeah, I think they're all toughness 3 models. So if you get in combat with them, you're going to tear them to pieces. Like, even a unit of basic Marines gets into combat with these guys, they're probably going to tear them up. Even with some of the rules that we'll see in a moment. So yeah, Tanith camo cloak. 8, they can't be targeted if they're over 18 inches away. They're -1 to hit. Okay. Against ranged attacks. When they're in cover, they get +2 to the save. So they are a very, very durable, you know, against shooting. Okay, so carry on. So the article explains that basically each member of the squad is a character in its own right, and they have many skills that benefit the entire squad. Now, on face value, this could just be a unique thing for the Gaunt Ghost, and that'd be fine. If I was to allow myself a solitary crumb of hope, and bear in mind that hope is the first step on the road to disappointment, that sounds awfully like what a command squad could be as well. We're talking a basic Ashton Town command squad, a Pilgard command squad. You know, you've got the medic guy, you've got the banner guy, you've got the Vox guy, you've got the marksman. I would be very much... If this could be a little hint to what they're going to do with command squads. I have no basis for that whatsoever. I'm hoping. It's purely a cool idea. But anyway, basically, it's a squad of characters, and each character brings something to the squad. So the first one is the big man himself, Colonel Commissar Ibram Gaunt. I always used to want to call him Abraham Gaunt when I was a kid because I never read his name properly, but it's just Ibram Gaunt. Now, his stats are, he is a Lord Commissar, basically. He has weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, movement 6, I should have said at the beginning, because, you know, he's a human. Strength 3, toughness 3. He has 4 wounds, attacks 3, leadership 9, and a 4+ save. For all intents and purposes, he is a Lord Commissar. Now, I will assume he comes with a bolt pistol, but they haven't said that, and they haven't said it's a special one. But what they have said is special is his chainsword. Now, spoilers for people who haven't read the first 3 books for Gaunt's Ghosts, okay? If you haven't read them, put a bucket on your head and bang it for a second, for 10 seconds, or just don't watch any further, or just be prepared for spoilers. we do not see any rules for the sword of Hieronymo Sondar. Okay, which is his signature power sword, which he uses for like all the books after the third one. Okay, so from what I can see, he has special rules for Gaunt's chainsword, and it's a pretty beastly chainsword, but that's it. Okay, we have no indication that he gets the sword of Hieronymo Sondar, unfortunately. Now, Gaunt's chainsword does have the ability. It's a range attack. It's a melee attack. Now, it's strength user, which to me is slightly disappointing. Okay, it's strength user, it's AP -1, damage 2. And each time he uses it, he gets D3 additional attacks. So on average, he's actually going to have 5 attacks. Now, whilst we currently have access to our current priest rules, he could go up to 6 attacks. Now, the reason I say that is if you look at what the Sisters of Battle have got, their preachers are very, 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 very different now. And I imagine that will get ported over to the Guard at some point. I believe our codex isn't scheduled until next year, but that's just what I've heard on the grapevine. That's not even a leak. That's just someone that I know. That's someone that I know. Inquisition sources, they can be unreliable sometimes. Anyway, but they've been pretty spot on. They've been pretty spot on with most of this stuff. Anyway, read into it. It may be end of this year, beginning of next year. Anyway, point is that you could get this guy, he could have 7 attacks. He could get the big 3 on his additional D3 attacks, and that would put him to 6. And then with the priest, he could be 7 attacks, hitting on 2s. The problem is that strength user. That's a real bit of a bastard, because he's only strength 3. So he's okay at hacking through Guardsman equivalent. You know, he's quite a good bully unit. And he can probably about hold his own against like Marine, like some basic Marine equivalent. But he's only strength 3. So he'll hit with all his attacks pretty much. He's got weapon skill 2+. But he only is strength 3. And he may only get 4 attacks. You know, it's D3, it's random. If I was to write this rule, I would go about 2 ways about it. One, I'd go for that, you know, sword of Hieronymo Sondar and just make it a beast of a power sword, you know, +2 strength, something like that. But anyway, we got what we've got. If I was to write Gaunt's chainsword rules, I would give it strength +1. Straight away, I'd give him strength +1. Okay, and I would make the AP -2. That's what I would give it. Now the reason, and I would just say it gives him additional 2 attacks. Okay. The reason I would do that is strength 4 means he actually can, you know, fight Marine equivalent with a chance. It doesn't make him overpowered because a lot of stuff's going to strength 5 in the game anyway. So it just means it allows him to bully smaller units, you know, Guardsman equivalent, and it allows him to go toe to toe with Marine equivalent, but doesn't affect his meta, you know, his meta ability essentially. The reason I give him AP -2 is again because storm shields are extremely prevalent, and just giving it AP -1 basically means that against a lot of units you won't really feel that AP -1. You'll just be kicking them back down to a 3 up armor save, whereas for a proper character, you know, this is Colonel Commissar Gaunt, you'd want him to be putting people onto their 4 pinsons. You'd want him to be really cleaving through Guardsman equivalent, and you'd want him to be making Marines be a bit worried. Damage 2 is great, however. I think that is very good. You know, allows you to kill a tactical Marine in 1 hit if you get those hits through. Now bear in mind, let's say he gets 6 attacks. He will hit with 5 of them, but he will only wound with 2 of them. Now, if it's against like a tactical Marine, the tactical Marine should fail 1 of those saves, and so he should kill it. But that's his ability. His ability is to be able to kill a Marine in turn. So, okay. His combat ability, I mean. Now, moving on, he has he's an inspirational figurehead. So, Colonel Commissar Ibram Gaunt. Each time this unit makes morale test, if it contains Colonel Commissar Ibram Gaunt, that test is automatically passed. To be fair, there's only like 6 of them in the unit. So, I mean, it's nice, but even if they, you know, yeah, it's nice. It's all right. It's not a buff that he gives out to everyone. It's just for the unit. Now, he also has a trait, first and only. This unit can only be included in an Astra Militarum detachment or an auxiliary support detachment. If this unit is selected as your warlord, then Colonel Commissar Ibn Gaunt is your warlord. Okay. If he has a warlord trait, it must be Inspiring Leader. So basically, you can take it on auxiliary, or, and they explain this a little bit later, you can just take it in your army, and it doesn't affect your regiment trait because Gaunt has the Ordo Prefectus rule, which means he's just an advisor. He just gets taken as an advisor. So that's good. You can take them in your army without ruining your regiment trait. Good. If you want Gaunt to be a warlord, then he has to take the Inspiring Leader trait. Now here's the interesting thing. You go and check your Astra Militarum Codex. There isn't a warlord trait called Inspiring Leader. So I don't know what warlord trait that is. Please correct me if I am wrong. I could be making just a really simple mistake here. But you know, you've got. I thought the one they were talking about was like the one that gives you the extra order, but that's Master of Command. Or I thought it was the one that gives you the bellowing voice, which gives you the extra range, but it's not. So I don't know what Inspiring Leader is. If someone knows what that is, if I've missed it, or I'm just being a bit, well, I should be getting the short bus, then tell me. Okay, I won't be offended. But if it's not, if it's something we haven't seen yet, then that's pretty interesting. So that's all of Gaunt stuff. So far, you know, you've got the Covert Stealth Team, you've got the Camo Cloak, you've got Gaunt and his special chainsword, everyone passed morale, and he's got this unknown Inspiring Leader trait. Then we get on to Colm Corbec. Now, for all intents and purposes, this chap is basically a company commander. He's got weapon skill 3 plus blitz skill 3 plus strength 3, toughness 3, wounds 4, attacks 3, leadership 8, 5 plus save. Now, the big thing about Colm is that he has Corbec's Hotshot Las Carbine. Now, little annoying because, as far as I'm aware, Corbec never had a Hotshot Las Carbine, but whatever, I'm willing to let it pass because it's an absolutely beastly weapon. It's a range of 24 inches, it's assault 3, it's strength 3, it's AP minus 3, and it's damage 1. Basically, it has an extra 6-inch range and assault 3 over, and an extra AP over a regular old Hotshot Lasgun. Now, Games Workshop, please, if there's one thing that if the spy that listens into these videos, I know you're there, mate, I know you're there. Now, if there's one thing that you can take from this unit and port over to the rest of the guard, please make it that Hotshot Lasguns all get this Hotshot Las Carbine rule. Make them 24 inches, make them all assault 3, make them strength 3. I don't mind if you keep them AP minus 2, but I'd be grateful if you gave them the AP minus 3. Because this is what Hotshot guns should be. This is what they should be. Okay? They should be assault weapons. Okay? They're used by the goddamn stormtroopers. They're storming things. Okay? They should have assault weapons. So please, Games Workshop, and 24-inch range, can we stop this nonsense where they've got an 18-inch range? Just stop it. Just give them a 24-inch range, going to make it assault 3. So anyway, Colm Corbec has what Hotshot Lasguns should be, and, what Hotshot Lasguns are jealous of, basically. So hopefully they'll port that over. Now, he has an absolutely fantastic rule. And I do not yet know the extent that the tactical implications this could have, but it sounds like an absolute doozy. Okay. Colonel Colm Corbec. Once per battle round, if this unit contains Colonel Colm Corbec, when this unit uses an Astra Militarum or core stratagem, that stratagem costs 1 fewer CP to use, to a minimum of 0 CP. Note that the CP cost is only reduced by 1 CP for that use of the stratagem. Any future uses of it cost the normal amount of CPs. So, little confusing, but what I see it is, as once per battle round, you can reduce the cost of a stratagem by 1. Okay, so once per battle round, if this unit contains Colonel Colm Corbec, when this unit uses an Astra Militarum or core stratagem, that stratagem costs 1 fewer CP to use. Okay, so it's not always stratagems. It's not like you can just go, relentless, that's free on like Lehman Russ this time. It's stratagems that affect the squad. But any time that you it's once per battle round, which means if you use it in like a CP reroll in your turn, then and it will be free. But if you use it in your opponent's turn next, assuming you went first, then you'll have to spend 1 CP on it. Okay, so that's fair enough. But that take cover stratagem that we mentioned before, that could just be free to just put on them every turn. Just because you can only put that on in your opponent's turn. So that's really interesting. So when it says any future uses of it, I think it means in the battle round. I don't think it means, it doesn't say once, you can only use this once per stratagem. It's once per battle round. The stratagem costs 1 for your CP. So that's interesting. I don't know what other stratagems might come with the Gaunt Ghosts. But it's definitely, yeah, it's a real doozy. It's a biggie. Now, yeah, I think that has some real, it's like basically a license to print money. It's a license to print CP on this unit. The risk will be getting carried away and not using the CP on other units. Like, oh, those Bulgars could really do a take cover. That's the risk. Okay, so moving on to Elim Rawne. Major Rawne is especially fond of getting his traditional Tanith straight silver knife stuck into close combat, and is an expert at keeping the enemy off balance. Okay, so he is an interesting character. Again, for all intents and purposes, this guy is a platoon commander. So he's got movement 6, weapon skill 3, but skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, wounds 3, 1 less wound than Colonel Corbec, attacks 3, leadership 7, 5 plus save. His straight silver knife is AP -1. That's it. Now what I'm hoping is they all get the straight silver rule. Because it is well known. A, it's modelled on them all. They've all got the knife. And B, in the fluff, the Gaunts all carry a straight silver knife. That's their whole thing. Okay, like they have these big old choppers essentially. They're not running around with your average Imperial Guard pig sticker. They're running around with proper big choppers. Like they are not like hacking blades. They're piercing blades. They're stabbing. I guess if any of you know what the Marine Commando knife looks like, they're kind of like a big ass version of that. So rather than a K-bar, it's like a Marine Commando knife. So that's cool. So I hope they all get. Basically means that, you know, his attacks are AP -1. Strength user again, a little bit of a shame. But his big thing is at the start of the fight phase, if this unit contains Major Elim Rawne, select one enemy unit within engagement range of this unit, and that unit fights last. So that's a biggie. That's a biggie because, you know, these guys, they're not, you know, they're not the toughest, and they aren't the strongest. But if they're fighting, if they make their opponents fight last, it certainly means that, you know, Gaunt can kill that intercessor. You know, the rest of them combined with their, you know, hopefully they've all got AP -1 attacks, should be able to bring down a couple more. You know, because, you know, Corbec's got 3 attacks, Rawne's got 3 attacks, Larkin has got an attack, Bragg has got 2 attacks, Mkoll has got 4 attacks. You know, so the point is you kind of hope that between the rest of them, they'll be able to bring down at least another one if they've all got AP -1. And they all hit on at least a 3+. So, yeah, I think that's really, really good. Moving on to Larkin. Now, Hiline Larkin is a crack shot with his long lasts. He certainly is, and again, I hope that they make this. I hope that they make this weapon what all guard snipers are, because it's insane. It is range 36 inches so far, so sniper rifles. Heavy 1 so far, so sniper rifles. Strength 5, okay, getting a bit fruity now. AP -2, my god. Damage D3. I'm like that wrestling guy that falls off his chair. Okay. You know, that is a sniper rifle, that is. Ability, each time you select a target for this weapon, you can ignore the Lookout Sir rule. Each time an attack is made with this weapon on an unmodified roll of a 6, wound roll of 6, target suffers D3 mortal wounds in addition to the normal damage. That's really good. Now, Larkin is definitely the shooting character. He's movement 6, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 2+, strength 3, toughness 3. He's only got 2 wounds and he's only got 1 attack. He's only got leadership 6. So, you know, he probably would be the first one to die if the lads got into combat. But, you know, for shooting, he's going to be the last one you want to kill. Master Sniper Hiline Larkin. Each time a model of this unit makes a ranged attack, if this unit contains Larkin, the target does not receive the benefit of cover. So just inbuilt, Larkin gives them all ignore cover. That's pretty good. Moving on, we have Again Bragg. Now, he's got an interesting profile. So he's movement 6, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 5+, pretty orky. Strength 4, so pretty tough, pretty strong, I mean. Toughness 3, fair enough, he's a guardsman at the end of the day. If, you know, if Yarrick, Yarrick is toughness 4, actually. Strength 4, toughness 3, wounds 2, so that's okay. Attacks 2, that's okay. 5+ save, and he has an autocannon, and the autocannon is just the usual rule. You know, heavy 2, 48 range, strength 7, 8, 1, damage 2. So that's, I guess we now know autocannons aren't going up an AP or anything. So fair enough. There was some hope for that when the guard colours came around. Again Bragg is a special rule. He doesn't suffer the movement penalty for moving and firing, even though he is an infantry guy. And in the shooting phase, if he doesn't hit, you can have another go. So basically, he's got ballistic skill 5+. You roll twice to hit with the autocannon. If you miss with both autocannon shots, you get to fire another 2 shots to try and hit. If you do hit, you have to keep your 1 hit, and that's it. So that's kind of interesting. To be honest, and you know, I'm sorry, Bragg, but I personally feel like his rules are the weakest. Certainly feel like Bragg would definitely be the first one I'd take out the unit if I had to pick a casualty for shooting. So sorry, but that's the case. In combat, he can stick. Larkin can bite it first. Okay, now we move on to Mkoll. Owen. We're going to say Owen. Owen Mkoll. Scout Sergeant Mkoll is the stealth specialist, and he's also quite good at fighting, at shooting, and at the old sticky combat. So his rules are: he's got movement 6, weapon skill 2+, very nice. Ballistic skill 2+, very nice. Strength 3, toughness 3, wounds 2, attacks 4. So the 2 wounds is nice. Attacks 4 is very nice. So more attacks than Gaunt. And if he has a straight silver, which if you look in his hands, he definitely has one, that's 4 attacks at AP -1. Pretty nice. He also has a las carbine, which, you know, again gets me a little uncomfortable in the trouser department for if I think they will spread las carbines out to the rest of the guard. It's a 24-inch range gun with assault 3, strength 3, AP nothing, damage 1. So it's an assault 3 las gun. Again, uncomfortable trouser feeling if you could just choose for your guardsmen whether you want a las gun or las carbine. That's pretty cool. We'll have to see, because obviously, you know, we don't know what Rawne is armed with. He might have a las gun or he might have a las carbine. Very interesting. And the big thing about Sergeant Mkoll is that if he is alive, everyone gets a 5% vulnerable save. Everyone. In combat or not in combat. So, pretty interesting. Now, Gaunts, here's another little tidbit that they throw it at the very bottom of the article. Gaunt's ghosts can be filled as an HQ choice for any Ashen Military army, as they often fought alongside other Imperial forces during the Sabbath Crusade. For a truly thematic choice, be sure not be sure to not appreciate the contribution the Tanith makes to your success. Oh yeah, sorry. It took me a second to read that. I was like, what? Basically, they're an HQ choice. That is interesting. They're an expensive HQ choice, so 140 points. But certainly an interesting one. I mean, I don't know, it's kind of tricky. I don't know, I mean, I guess it's good. We'll have to see what all the rules are, but you know, the rules they've revealed so far are very, very nice. Very, very nice. Gives you a very good idea of what the unit can do. I reckon there's still some more stuff to come. We don't know what everyone is armed with exactly. You know, we don't know different combat weapons potentially, but I think we can assume they've all got straight silver. HQ choice makes it good. I mean, it basically means you can now run 2 battalions and not have to take just like a random independent Lord Commissar. You know, you can take 2 company commanders, 3 company commanders, and the Gaunt's ghosts. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, the guard HQ slots, I guess, aren't overly crowded. I mean, you've got 3 tank commanders, 3 company commanders, and then after that, it's sort of dealer's choice. Yeah. It's interesting. Now, what's interesting is that they say at the very bottom of the article, but what if you want to make the rest of your army represent other units from the Tanith first and only? We asked the Warhammer Studios rules colonel, Robin Crudders, for his thoughts. Robin, there's absolutely no reason you can't use this datasheet as part of an all-Tanith army if you want, simply by replacing the regiment keyword on all your units with Tanith. If you do so, you can also take advantage of the regimental doctrines in the Psychic Awakening, the Greater Good, to reflect the First and Only's unique battle style. The Tanith are a light infantry regiment, renowned for their marksmanship and stealthiness. As such, we recommend using the Wilderness Survivors and Disciplined Shooters regimental doctrine to best reflect their battleground on the tabletop. So, good news is that it sounds like those Wilderness Survivors and Disciplined Shooters are going to be staying around for a while. Bad news is it doesn't seem like we're getting a unique Tanith trait, which is a bit of a shame. That would have been cool to have that, but you can't have it all. And I suppose Wilderness Survivors and Disciplined Shooters are very good for it. Okay. It then says, the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that Gaunt's Ghost Station is the official officio perfectus keyword. As such, due to advice of auxiliary rule, they won't ever benefit from such regiment doctrine themselves, but worry not, the Gaunt's Ghost Data sheet itself already accounts for Tanith's stealth in nature and the models within it, with perhaps the exception of Again Bragg, are all already expert shots. So, oh, and it also says, at the very, very bottom of the article, which I'd missed, all the ghosts carry the straight silver. So they've all got AP -1 attacks. So there you go. So Rawne is actually, he is good for that fight last ability, but his combat ability is actually relatively lacking. Shame. Mkoll is better than him. But that fight last ability I think is so powerful that if you're facing a combat army, you definitely want to keep him around. The skill with this squad is going to be picking who to kill off first. That's going to be the skill for it. But let me know what you guys think. That's a full breakdown. Like I said, I'll link the article into the video in the description, so be sure to check it out. Yeah, very exciting. I'm pretty happy with it. It looks like, at the very least, these guys are going to be usable. And, what else can we hope for? Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. And, of course, I'll see you guys next time.